Howdy everybody. Welcome back to Stranded Deep in Conversation, where we talk about just the most incredible things. Before we get into the main topic, I do have a new little segue that I would like to transition into. And I'm going to call this This Week in Retail. Because I work retail, and there's so many just stupid people that it's hard not to just have them sit in your head for so long, and I figured I might as well share some instances with these people. So let's see. So for starters, there is this one person. There's a good few of these that have it's based off of their account names for their club card thing. One of them is named whatever their last name is. I'm not gonna name it. I'm not gonna drop that. But then for their first name, it's put as use this now. Use this one. So they literally just, I don't know if they just got tired of them using the wrong card or something. I don't understand. Because only we can see the use this one. So it's not like they are using that one, using it as like a baseline of like which card they should use or whatever. I don't know. It didn't make any sense. I thought it was very funny. What the hell? Okay. But another really funny account, their name, and I had to hold back so hard from laughing at this person because they didn't seem like, I don't understand what went wrong there, but they made their name on the account. It's just completely, just the silliest thing you can imagine. It was freaking hilarious to look at. I was like, this isn't real, right? Like, this is someone like pranked this person into making this their name. It was just a blast and a half to see that one. There's also a guy who came into our store and he came to our store with a shirt that said, and I quote, "Fuck you, you fucking fuck." So that guy's really knows what he's doing. It's seriously just freaking hilarious. He was a very bizarre man, and so was the person that he came in with. The person he came in with was coming in for like gauze and stuff, because their freaking leg was their leg was pussing up. Because I guess from what they said, they hit a stick. It's like they got impaled by a stick or something. I don't understand the logic behind that. I don't get it. It's very bizarre. But it was very strange. And they tried paying for it. It was like everything they bought was like $16 or something. But because, of them only having $10, they didn't get everything they wanted. So they just spent like 15 minutes standing there like, this is unbelievable. It's like, well, where's the money? We'll find it. Where is it? It was just a disaster and a half. Shouldn't have done that. It's genuinely hilarious. But, yeah, so those were some of the more ones that I felt I could highlight in the old retail and business. So then we move into today's actual topic, which only after putting it together did I realize that it is fairly similar to episode 3 of Things I Dislike, but I think this is a more universal thing. It is things that are annoying that no one really talks about. Because there's so many things, and I go through my day just being like, oh, yeah, why is it still going so drastically? Okay, no, it's fine. But yeah, so there's a lot of things that just people don't seem to be like, this is stupid. You know? So, but one of those things, and just to sort of get it on, because everyone thinks this is stupid. I'm stupid, because at the moment I don't think when I talk, but I'm trying to. But yeah, so one of the things that I have on this list, because there's no way more people, there's no way that only I have problems with this. It is putting on latex gloves. Latex gloves. Everyone has had an experience with latex gloves, and if you didn't, you're a liar. It's just the facts. And everyone knows what latex gloves are, obviously. So we're not going to talk about what the hell a latex glove is. But with latex gloves, the thing that grinds my gears with them is at the moment, like, you can get them on your hand kind of okay, but trying to wiggle your fingers into the holes is always a problem, because your fingers always just stick to the inside of the glove no matter where it is, so you just start just trying to force the damn thing on, and then trying to just wiggle your fingers around to try and move into different holes. You have to, like, slowly peel back the fingers off the glove, pretty much just trying to put it on again, because it just never works. It never works the first time. It's just a disaster. I have nothing but pure hatred for it. Okay. But, oh god, and then, because my eyes sweat. This has been a thing since I was a tiny child. I just sweat a lot. So those things always wind up just being absolutely gross. They wind up getting sort of just melded onto my hand the moment I try to even put them on. If I just keep them on for more than a minute, they just welded onto my hand. So however they are, and that's whenever I actually finally get the glove on, it's always kind of loose. It's always like, you can always kind of like pull it off pretty easily. It's never like skin tight. And the ones that are, I always want to just ripping before I can, because half the time my fingers just get stuck on part of, like, halfway up the finger hole. So then when I try to pull it all the way up, it just rips from the middle of the frickin' finger. I'm like, what is wrong with gloves? Why can't I just have a normal frickin' glove? It's mind-boggling. It's just, and there's no way, and I'm saying this with the most amount of sincerity in my heart. There's no way this is something that only I've experienced. Because it is just such a, in my eyes, universal experience. Because everyone, like, whenever I have friends, like whenever I was doing like labs with friends in school, like, they put them on so quick, and then they'd still be like, oh yeah, these are annoying. But like, they would be like halfway done with the entire project by the time I can actually get one on my hand. And that's not even a joke. Like, I struggled so hard with putting those damn things on. It was impossible. It was just impossible. And it was something else trying to do stuff with that. So we'll move on from the latex gloves, because I could go on forever. Like, there was, I'm not moving on. I'm still butthurt over this. There was a lab that we were doing, and I think it was 7th grade, and it was dissecting a frog, and me and my friend were in the same group, and we were like the only two in the entire class who were like, yeah, we could mess with this frog, sure, this sounds like fun. See, our group was a bunch of people who were like, ew, frog gross, which I get it. It was a dead frog. It was a weird sight for a kid who's never really seen a dead thing on the road before. Which was me. I never really saw dead things. So maybe like a squirrel here and then, because we were in Brooklyn, so of course you're gonna see like a dead squirrel every now and then. But it was just, okay. But yeah, so I remember there was one in particular, one class of that lab where I had it all. We got there, and we were about to start, but I still needed to put my damn gloves on. And my group literally just sat there for like 2 minutes at least, just watching me put this damn glove on my hand, because I couldn't do it. And eventually my group the teacher was just like, all right, you guys can start. And I was just sitting there for another couple minutes trying to get one on, and then I'd freaking rip it, so then I'd have to try a different pair, and then I'd be right back to square one. It was excruciating. And I don't understand why it was so damn difficult. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, it will never make sense to me why that was so difficult. But it still is. That's the thing, is the other day at work, I was trying to put on some gloves so I could take out the trash, because the trash is disgusting. And it took so long to get them on. And every time I'd get one finger in the hole, and then, like, sometimes the other finger would go in the wrong hole, and, okay, you know what? We're done. We're done talking about it, because I'm going to start yelling in a second. Okay, but it's just gonna build up from here. Trying to find a pen that has ink. It has ink in it. It's not dried up. You don't have to scribble on the book for like 5 minutes to actually get something out of it. It is biggest pain. And normally it would be fine, and normally it would be like, okay, yeah, I mean, it's my fault that I didn't put the cap on, or I have this pen, it's really old, whatever. But at my work, so many people just don't put the pens back. They don't put the pens back. Like, they don't put the pens back, but they don't put the caps back on the pens. So you literally just sit there, like, delicious. Not delicious. I'm sorry. I'm playing the game as I talk, and I am not good at it. But freaking, like, we have like 6 pens out at once, and every single one has the cap off. And so you're just sitting there, like, okay, maybe this one works. Nope, okay, maybe this one works. One of these pens was just used a couple minutes ago, and it has to be one of them. So which one was it? And you don't know, because you just go through each one, and then you put the cap back on when you're done, and then you put it away, so that way it's like, okay, you know, maybe, just maybe, putting the cap back on will fix it somehow, you know, like, so hallelujah. But then you come in the next day, and then there's just more, they're all just uncapped again. And I'm like, you are joking. It's like, just get new pens at that point. Like, honestly, it just gets to the point where I want to get, like, a different pen. It's just like, what's the point? What is the actual point at this rate? There isn't one. There just isn't one. Okay, but so another one that I was doing recently that got me all pissed off like this is, drum roll. If I have a dumb set of toy drums that I could be playing right now, but I don't. You know what? I'm getting them out. Hold on. All right, so let's get a drum roll for the next one. Using touchscreen electronics after, well, when there's water or some sort of liquid on your hands. Or like if you just washed your hands and you dried them, but you didn't dry them all the way, so then you go to touch your phone, and then you get this stupid little, the red, blue, and green pixel crap, and then it winds up just clicking things on the screen when you didn't mean to click them, because it just thinks you're clicking it. Ooh. That grinds my gears, man. So much. Like, unbelievable amount of gear grinding goes down on days like that. Ugh, and then like, you try to wipe it off, but then it just kind of smears it over the screen, then clicking more buttons, and it's just a disaster. I don't hate this one nearly as much as the first two, because I don't have as many bad experiences with that as at the first two, but it's happened so much. It's like, if I just have to point it out, because I feel like no one else really does. Because everyone's always like, I'm sure people do in their just normal everyday life, where they're like, oh my god, this is so annoying, I hate this. But then you try to friggin', but that's it, that's as far as it goes. No one really talks about it. And people should talk about it, because it's a disaster, and I don't like it. And if I don't like it, that means there's gotta be someone else who does. And I'm sure there are, because it's just an annoying thing. Another one, it's not really in the same ballpark, but it is still annoying. It is socks that shrink and get too tight. Because you'll have like your favorite pair of socks. Everyone has their favorite pair of socks. Everyone does. It's just life. You know, if you're not wearing your favorite socks, you're just saying to the world, my feet don't deserve happiness. Which isn't a good thing to bring out to anyone. And sometimes those socks, you put them in the wash because you're like, hey, you know, I think they could use a little bit of a clean, and you know, it wouldn't hurt. Oh, but it hurt. In fact, it hurt so much that you will never see them in their original state ever again. They're gone. Gone with time. God, it is just... And then they shrink. But sometimes, right? Sometimes they will shrink a little bit. So it's like, okay, you know... It's like kind of annoying, but I can still kind of put them on. So it's like, they're just barely just cutting off circulation to my feet. But I'm like, they're freaking, it's penguins on my socks. Of course I want to keep wearing these. I don't care if they kind of hurt to wear. They're nice socks. And oh my god, my shoes just sprouted a hole. The amount of socks that I love that have been ruined by that hole in my shoe, it gets me livid every time thinking about it. Because I don't even know why a hole sprouted. There's no reason for it to. It just did. Like, I don't walk that forcefully, I thought, but apparently I guess I do. Sticks. But yeah, so I ruined my own socks, which is I guess it's not as much of an annoying thing for most people, so I'm not gonna say it like it is. There's definitely some hate for it to be had by me. But it's mostly just the fact that socks shrink in the wash. Like, if there's any material that, like, socks should be made out of, it should be the one that doesn't shrink in the wash under, like, many, if at all, any circumstances. Because then what's the point? You give them to your kids, but then they can still use the bigger socks. It's just kind of a bit more, No, it's not exactly something you want to do. It's just silly. Just a silly time. Can we use the farm? But, okay, I'm gonna just move on from that. We'll go to the next thing, which is worse, in my opinion. Much worse than the fact that socks can shrink, but it's definitely less frequently annoying, but when it happens, it's like, what the hell? Like, why? And that is, this one deserves a drum roll. The last one that got a drum roll didn't really deserve it. This one definitely does, though. We'll use a different drum this time. I don't have an ounce of rhythm in my body, by the way. I just want you to know that. Shocking yourself on door handles. Shocking yourself on door handles, my friends. This is something that happens to me almost daily sometimes. But lately it has been a little bit better, because I haven't been shocked too frequently lately. But there was a time in my life where I just couldn't avoid getting shocked by stuff. Like, I would touch anything. In my house, in the public, like anything metal. I would get shocked on the library door handles, my friends' door handles, just leaving a building, like a Barnes & Noble, just touching the door, like the little bit of the door that actually has metal on it. And it wouldn't be like a painful shock. It never is a painful shock. It's just annoying. Like, why? Like, in what world did I ask you to do this to me? It's just... God, and then, like, it's always, like, a little bit of pain, but it's, like, enough to where it's, like, I never want to experience this again. I hate the fact that I have to experience it once at all. So please stop making me experience it. But then you do anyway, because, you know, it's life. Life don't care about what you think, about what you want. And, yeah. So you're shocking yourself, not fun. I have a shock pen that I got as, like, a gag thing, because I thought it'd be funny. I really wanted to mess with some of my coworkers with it. Like, I put it down. It's like, it's styled like a click pen. So you'd think, oh, okay, perfect. I just click it, and then boom, there's gotta be ink in that one. But I'm not cruel. So I didn't do it. I did shock myself with it, though. it feels nothing like a static shock. It feels like my mom was talking about it, because like she used it because we all just kind of passed it around like a doobie, and just a doobie. I don't think anyone calls it a fucking doobie. Jesus Christ. But we passed it around the family. The only person who didn't do it was my twin sister, because she, like me, was very just like, I don't know if I wanted to do this, but I did it anyway because I'm an idiot. But I mean, jeez Louise, man. When I tell you that thing I don't know, it like numbed my thumb to a point where it's kind of like rattling around. It didn't really feel like a shock. It just felt like a numbing. And my mom said that was pretty much how like it felt to lick a battery. Why in God's name did anyone, like I'm sure there was a thing from way long ago, you know, like whenever ago, but you got, like, you were licking a battery? Are you, and you're alive today? In what world did you think that was a smart idea? It just blows my mind that people, are so stupid. And I'm sure I would have done it as a kid, absolutely. If one of my friends was like, you want to lick this battery? I would, for sure, have not even hesitated. I would have just went at it like a madman. But it's just so strange hearing it, especially from Mom, of all people. Like, that they did something that just bafflingly stupid. Wow. Moving on, that's not what this is about. I have 5 more things. So, another one of these things, and I guess, like, why am I using the axe? I guess this is like a light drum roll scenario. So, I'm gonna quickly whip it out once I gather these palm fronds. Should be more somewhere. There it is. So, light drum roll. How frail thumbtacks are. And there's some thumbtacks which are good quality, but most of them, especially most of the ones that I've interacted with as of late, they are not quality at all. There's nothing quality about them. It's just a sin to use, because it's like, why bother wasting your time with these when you could just do anything else with you there? Like, you could, but oh my god, and I think I do mention this next. Yeah, it comes up, so I'm gonna save this story for in a second. But just, it's so frustrating dealing with thumbtacks, because I like posters. I've recently gotten into the poster game. I used to have nothing on my wall. Now I have a good amount of things on my wall, and I feel pretty cool. I'm very happy and content with all the things I have on my wall. But, oh my goodness. Trying to put up the posters, because I have some, like, just frame stuff, but there's the posters. I tried using thumbtacks. I hate thumbtacks. I tried to get away from thumbtacks for the longest time after that, because it was just hell. It was hell to put up anything with thumbtacks. Because half the time, the ones that we had, at least the ones that we had, so maybe we just had the cheap ones, because obviously, yeah, we definitely had the cheap ones. But in my head, it was like, hey, you know, whatever. We had the cheap ones, what are you gonna do? But, so I pushed down my thumb on one of these to try to, like, stamp it into the wall. It wasn't, like, a very hard part of the wall either, but might I add. These thumbtacks just suck. It, like, pushed back through the back of the thumbtack and stabbed me in the finger. It hurt like a bitch. Like, I was pissed. It wasn't like crying level. It's like ouchie, but it got mad. I was tempted to throw it, but I have cats, so I wasn't just gonna throw a loose and just broken thumbtack on the ground for my cats to find and eat. You know, that's not the smartest thing to do. I'll tell you that much. But geez, thumbtacks. I remember there was a time where, like, they could just stamp it to the wall, and you know what? It worked every single time. So I don't know if they've just gotten cheaper over the years or something. I don't mean to be that guy. He's like, back in my day, I'm not even 20. But it's just strange. It's just strange, is all. That's all I have to say. about thumbtacks. And then move into this is definitely a me thing, but maybe someone else out there is as just sad as I am about some things. How big some computer mouses are now. Because, I don't know about you guys, but when I got my new computer, like a couple weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago by now, jeez, it's been that long, my god. But, when I got this thing, it came with a computer and a mouse. Not a computer, obviously a computer, so not a computer. It came with a keyboard and mouse as well, just in case, I guess, if you don't have one. But then at which point, why didn't they give people, like, I don't know, like a desktop or something, like a monitor? I don't know. It's stupid. But I get it. My friend said don't use it because the keyboard, he said they were made to sort of be like a mechanical keyboard, but it isn't at all, so it just kind of makes the clicking sound, and it's just really annoying, but doesn't actually have any of the benefits of the clicky sounds. So I was like, oh, okay, I guess. I don't really know I don't understand a lot of the time what the hell they're talking about when I talk about the computer stuff, because I'm not a very big computer person. Like, I use computer, but I don't really know how to upgrade one, so I got a lot of help from him. Shoutouts to that dude. But it came with a computer mouse and a computer keyboard. And the computer mouse it came with was massive in size. It was huge. I don't know what person, like, I don't know if they're trying to fit frickin', what's that guy's name? Giant wrestler dude, Andre the Giant. I don't know if they made it for him. The thing was massive, like unbelievably huge. I don't understand how anyone was like. It's like you would have to like spread eagle your entire hand if you wanted to use it. Do I need a stick? Oh, right. Like it was. I don't understand. And like that was like the default mouse they gave for people who are like, I need a mouse and a new computer and everything. Do people use big mouses like that? I don't understand. Because I've never seen anyone do that before. I've never seen such a huge mouse. But I mean, I guess it's a thing. I don't know. But it's just annoying that there's some mouses out there that are huge. Because my hand it's not a small hand. It's a pretty big hand. And it like fairly envelops my current mouse, which is pretty small. I'll be frank about that. It is very small. Actually, no, it's standard by my just general mouse using. But that thing's huge. I don't have it. I don't know where it is. I'm not gonna take a picture and show it to you guys. But just believe me, right? But yeah, huge. I don't understand why some of them are so big. That's annoying. Because then I can't imagine actually using that thing. I feel bad for people who get the computer thinking, oh, that comes with a mouse and keyboard, this is great. And then they wind up with frickin' carpal tunnel by the time they're 20 because their frickin' hand has been told that it should be fully spread out and all the fingers should be all frickin' wonky, and it's just, I'm over-exaggerating a little bit, yes, but it's so just bizarre. The next topic, which relates to the whole thumbtack thing, which definitely deserves a drum roll, followed by a symbol. How garbage most adhesives are, so like tape. And I have two stories to go with this that back me up on the fact that it is incredibly annoying. I got a poster for a band, and I was like, I don't want to use thumbtacks, because that was hell using thumbtacks the last time I tried putting up anything. So I was like, oh, I know, if I just get tape out of the drawer in the kitchen, I can just use that. And I figured just basic scotch, like just like the clear tape that you used to for like presents, I guess. But it's general tape, not big tape, like just normal tape. Figured that'd be enough. It wasn't even close. I put it on every corner. I put it on, and it just fell off immediately. Like, it didn't last a minute on the wall. And now every corner of that poster, which is like a nice glossy black, has white specks because it ripped off some of the paint off of the poster. But the tape stuck to the tape stuck to the paint before it stuck to the wall or the poster or anything. And there's one corner in particular that is luckily being blocked by a giant stuffed gnome that I don't have to look at because I get really annoyed immediately. It has the entire corner just ripped off all the black. It took the entire corner's black. So it's just a white stripe on the poster now, and it grinds the hell out of my gears. Why is it so strong in some aspects, but then not even close in others? I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't get the logic behind it. Like, it's just so frustrating. It's frustrating. Another thing is that there's these little, like, styrofoam. I wouldn't say styrofoam, but they're not exactly, like, the highest of quality, so obviously it's going to be pretty shitty. But I got these, like, glow-in-the-dark stars that you stick onto your wall, or your ceiling, or whatever. And I tried putting them on my ceiling. I still have some up. The only reason that some of them aren't up is because the sticky bits don't stick. And I would say it's a fault of the ceiling, but no, because all the sticky bits, at least most of them, are still on the ceiling. I'm looking at them right now. I see them. They're just sticking there. They're just living their best life. They stuck to the ceiling just fine. They couldn't stick to the star, which was the thing they're supposed to stick to. So you'd think that the quality control of that little company that I got them from would be like, hey, you should make sure these at least stick to the star, because they stick to the wall just fine. I figured if anything, the ceiling type would have a bit of an issue or something, or like different types of wallpaper. But no, that's just fine. The actual piece of thing that you need to stick to that you were supposed to try to stick and stay up there, no, that didn't stay. It wasn't even close. The same day I put them up, like, they all stayed up. The next day, like, 4 or 5 of them fell off the ceiling. One of them hit me when I was playing VR, and I was like, what the hell? I didn't get too scared, because I wasn't playing a scary game, and I think I was playing Boneworks or something. But it was just strange. It was just strange. That's all I could really say. It's just those stars. And they're nice. Like, the thing is, though, my light fixture only has one light bulb in it, which I didn't even know until I put up these stars. And I noticed that some of them weren't glowing as bright. And I was like, oh, I see. They are just screwed. But yeah, so those were just a disaster. Every freaking possible just way of saying it. It's just a disaster. I have 2 more things on this list, and they're both pretty annoying, I must say. I'm not a big fan of either of these things. They probably are like number 9 and 10 on the list. Maybe go higher. I don't know. I don't think they need to be ranked in any way. I guess the latex gloves and the pen are by far 1 and 2. But these are still pretty annoying. This one gets like a... not like a drum roll. It gets that action. Because it's nothing too crazy. It's more just kind of funny. And for most, I guess. And it is how extra barbecue sauce is an option and not the default. I'm sure people have been annoyed by this before, so I'm absolutely putting it on there. This isn't just a thing that I hate. No, it's an annoying thing that everyone else has been annoyed with. For sure. But, yeah. So, if you've never ordered anything with barbecue sauce on it, maybe you don't have this problem. But I have. I've ordered barbecue pulled pork sandwiches, also known as the best sandwich known to man. The best way to eat pork by far. So if you don't like pork or you can't have pork, and so it's not the best sandwich, it's at least the best way to eat pork. So for those of you who haven't eaten pork, just can't, just know that you're missing out on pulled pork and bacon. That's about the only two ways that I say I eat pork just regularly, or like pig regularly. Pulled pork, barbecue pulled pork is the best. But the thing is the place I ordered it from the first time, they had a good amount of barbecue sauce on it, and it was pretty good. And then we ordered it again, and it was like nothing. There was next to nothing in the thing. And we were just like, what? How did it change so drastically? It's the same place. And it's just, they just completely screwed up how much barbecue sauce they're supposed to put on this damn thing. Because we didn't ask for extra, because we figured it would just be a lot. Because that's how people eat barbecue, anything. They like it with stuff on it. So yeah, we literally had to start ordering with extra barbecue sauce because they just kept giving it to us with this pitiful amount of barbecue sauce on it. Which is fine. It's not a problem per se, it's just annoying because it's like the right amount of barbecue sauce that you want on a sandwich is extra. So why is it defaulted to not enough, you know? It grinds my gears sometimes. It's pretty annoying. But I mean, I also just like the taste of pork. I think my sister liked it a lot less. She's not a very meat person. She likes some meat. She likes pulled pork as long as it's barbecue-y. She likes, I think, just pulled meat in general because it kind of gets rid of the texture. Because she doesn't like the texture of meat. Which is fine, I guess. You know, what are you going to do? I love meat. And it's all of its forms, all of its varieties. Meat's great. But, you know, some people are allowed to have different opinions. However, the opinion of how much barbecue sauce should be the default option is pretty obviously however much extra is. Which shouldn't be extra. It should just be normal. I don't understand why it's not. I have one more thing on here, and then we can try to wrap up. Might be a little bit of a quicker episode. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. Because I don't want to fill this with a bunch of just garbage and lingo. Just stuff that doesn't need to be said. And that would have to be, drum roll please. I'm whittling a stick, hold on. How the backs of pins never stay in. And there's a side caveat to this point that I wrote down saying how keychains fall off so often. I don't know if the keychain bit is relatable to everybody, but definitely I think the back of pins never staying on is very relatable. And very, very annoying. Because I have a few pins. Because I only recently got into, like, actually caring about, like, music and, like, other musicians. Like, not other musicians, just musicians in general, and, like, bands and stuff. Because I used to just listen to music that I thought was good. I didn't really care about the band. But then I started listening to certain bands, and I was like, hey, this is actually pretty good. I'm going to keep listening to their stuff specifically. And I got a bunch of stuff for them, and some of the things that I've been given are pins for them. And I tried putting them on my book bag, which I bring to work because my coworker got it for me. She's an angel and noticed that I walk to work, and I always wind up bringing a bunch of shit home. So she's awesome. Huge props to her. Huge shout out to her. But I tried putting some pins on there. And I tried putting these pins on other things too. So it's not like it's just the bag's fault. They never stay in. I don't know if it's because if it's a sign of a cheap pin, or if it's the sign of just something that shouldn't be. But pins, for me, and for many other people that I've seen with pins, they don't stay all the time. You need to have it on something dormant, but you don't want it on something dormant, you want it on something that you bring around with you all the time. But otherwise, they just wind up falling off. And if the amount of times my pins have fallen off, in the most convenient of times and places, is a blessing. Because they fall off, and I never notice half the time when they fall off. So that for all I know, they could just be gone. They could have just been gone. And I would have nothing to do about it. I couldn't do anything about it. But luckily for me, they never really became a problem. Because I always drop it like right as I left my house, or right as I went into work, into the break room. So it would just be in the break room when I went on my break, and I'd be like, oh, there it is. That's cool. Ooh. And it's just so bizarre how frequent this happens to me. I don't understand. and I stopped putting pins on my stuff. Because I after I went off the book bag, it went onto my hat. Because I was like, okay, it could work as a little hat, like a thing in the middle of the hat. It doesn't have any branding on it on its own, so hey, why not? Didn't work out. Just didn't. So I said, frick it. We're not doing this. And so but the other thing I had on that book bag, which leads into the caveat for the point that I made, was that I put a bunch of keychains on it, or just little things in general. So I had a little Yoshi. I had a Pop-Tart that had strawberry Pop-Tart flavored lip balm on it, and a couple other things that would rotate in, because for whatever reason these things just snapped off and fell off every time. I don't know what it was about the thing, but it just couldn't stay on for more than a week without the chain slipping or just the thing falling off in general. And I'm like, how? It's not like I'm throwing this thing around. It's not like I'm treating it like a football. I'm treating it like a freaking book bag with some things on it. So I wasn't just slapping it around like Jungle Gym. It was treating it with care, like a tiny child. But I would probably kick a tiny child before I would kick my book bag. But besides the point, I just don't understand how all those things fall off. They're made for one purpose, and that is to be pinned in and to be hooked onto things so it stays there. It gives some character to the things you have. But the character arc for all of my things is that they lose their character because they keep falling off. And it's annoying. It is excruciatingly annoying. Because it's the same thing, luckily, with all of those keychains, too. They'd always fall off right when I needed them to. So they wouldn't fall off while me and my sister are, out at Walmart. Or, in a car. They'd fall out, right before we'd leave. Or, right as I pick up my bag or whatever. So it's fairly easy to find once I go to the place where it is. It's just why? Why is the thing? Do I only get cheap things? Probably. I don't really blow my money. I don't spend money on a lot of things that I don't deem necessary to spend things on. But I probably should start, I guess, after making this realization. Probably should start. But, yeah, I guess that's it. I can't think of other things that I just am annoyed with, and I think that other people would be annoyed with too. I can't think of another thing. I guess just how crayon sharpeners and pencil, a lot of pencil sharpeners as well, just don't really work. Oh, that's a good one actually. Yeah, I'm sure everyone has been annoyed with their freaking pencil sharpener, just constantly trying to make it work. And all you really do is just you take a bunch of the pencil off, but then they never actually stay sharp. I've had so many pencil sharpeners that you go round and around and around like a merry-go-round, just freaking wheeling that thing, just trying to make it nice and sharp so you could stab the paper with it. But what would happen was it would just break off, or it'd be brittle, or just the pencil wouldn't sharpen. It wouldn't go down the sharpener, which is obviously a sign of a bad sharpener. But sometimes it would be too good of a sharpener. So you'd freaking get it down, and it would literally just snap off because you cut it so thin that the whole freaking top of it would just fall off. Or I had a pencil sharpener that would shave it around and around and around, and it wouldn't get pointy at the end. It would just stay like a brick. So then as you'd keep going, it would get super thin to the point where you literally just had the stick of lead just sticking out with no wood around it, a good half an inch of just, not half an inch, maybe a quarter of an inch of just the lead just sticking out there, and not even sharp. It was just a brick of the lead, and then it would just snap off because it's not very freaking stable on its own. It needs the wood around it in order for it to not just snap off. It's amazing how things can just do that. And everyone just agrees that, oh yeah, this is just normal. This is normal. It's how it's supposed to be. No! What's wrong with you? I can get a good sharpener, and it'll still do that sometimes. A good quality, according to reviews, a good quality sharpener good quality pencils, and then there'll just be defects like that. And then everyone's like, oh yeah, it happens, just get another one. Like, no, I bought it so I wouldn't have to get another one. This was my one sharpener for at least a good couple years. Like, I don't know. It's very bizarre how so many things can just be awful. And everyone simultaneously agrees that that's just how it is. But they're annoying. And everyone knows they're annoying. But they don't say it. Because it's kind of just universally a thing that it's annoying. And no one really... There's no reason to say anything about it. Because it's not going to change. But those are 10 things. I guess 11, including the pencil sharpener. That I had to bring up. Because they're annoying to me. And I know they're annoying to everyone else. So why isn't anyone talking about it? It doesn't make sense. I don't get it. I don't like it. And I figured I'd be the first to dip my toe into the idea. And I'm sure there's other people who have talked about these things. But, I don't know. I haven't heard it. Therefore, it doesn't exist. And therefore, I am the first and the only to think of such an idea. So with that, I'm going to save the game. Once again, next to no progress made in this world. But I'm having a good time, so I hope you all are as well. It's just nice to have something in the background. At least for me, whenever I watch podcasts and stuff, I'm always like, listen to podcasts, and I'm like, dude, I would love if they just had something going on in the background, because you know when I listen to a podcast, and there's really nothing happening. And like, I'm not doing anything, so I'm like, oh, I'll just listen to this because I like listening to it. And I'm like, wow, I wish there was like something going on. So I hope this kind of bridges the gap between things, and that you all actually do enjoy this stuff, because I like talking. And normally with all the other games I play on the channel, I don't really talk very much about other things. I just talk about what's going on in the game, which is fun. I enjoy doing that. I also just enjoy sharing some thoughts with people. So I really do hope you enjoy this stuff, because it's some of the more genuine stuff that I put out. So thank you all for tuning in to this episode of Stranded Deep in Conversation. And I hope you will tune in for the next one, where I really promise it won't be about things that I just don't like, or just something similar to that. It won't be about that. I promise. I will think of something. So thank you all for tuning in, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Bye-bye now.